The wind howled across the frozen mountains. Snow fell like ashes from a burning sky. The land was silent. Too silent. Eli Walker stood near the edge of his wooden cabin, his fur coat pulled tight. His eyes scanned the white horizon. For years, he had lived alone in the ice-covered Northlands, no visitors, no friends, just quiet. But tonight, something was different. A strange humming noise came through the snow. It wasn't the wind. It was deeper, mechanical, like metal breathing. Eli grabbed his scanner, an old handheld device that picked up energy signals. The screen flickered red. Unknown source detected. Life signs weak. He narrowed his eyes. Out here? He followed the signal into the storm, each step sinking into deep snow. The night grew colder, darker. But the signal got stronger. Then he saw it, a strange object half buried in the snow, shaped like a cocoon, glowing faint blue. Steam hissed from its cracked sides. Eli moved closer. It wasn't from Earth. He touched the side. It felt warm. Then it opened. Inside were two girls. They looked human, but their skin shimmered faintly, like moonlight on water. Their hair was white, and their eyes were closed. One girl had a deep cut on her arm. The other trembled with cold. Eli blinked. What the hell? Suddenly, one of them opened her eyes, bright violet and glowing. She whispered, voice weak, "Please, don't be afraid." The other girl coughed and slowly opened her eyes. "Two, we're not weapons. Please, let us stay." Then both of them fainted. Eli didn't think. He scooped them into his arms, one by one. They were ice cold, but alive. He took them back to his cabin, pushing through the storm. Inside, he laid them near the fire and covered them with blankets. He made hot broth and placed heat pads near them. They slept for hours. Eli sat in a corner, shotgun beside him. His scanner kept beeping. Faint energy pulses, alien tech maybe. But no threat, yet. He looked at the girls. Who were they? Why did they call themselves not weapons? He had seen many things in the war. Machines, clones, even android soldiers. But never like this. Morning came, and snow still fell. The girls were still asleep, breathing slow but steady. Then, the ground shook. A small blast echoed in the distance. Eli rushed to the door and looked out. The pod, it had exploded. Nothing but fire and smoke now. He turned around and saw the younger girl was awake. She stared at him. "You saved us," she said softly. "Who are you?" Eli asked. She sat up slowly. "We don't have names, only codes." "Codes? I'm XO1, she's XO2. Eli frowned. "That sounds like you're not from around here." She smiled weakly. "We escaped." "From where?" She didn't answer. Her hand trembled. She held it up, and the air shimmered. A cup on the table floated for a second, then dropped. Eli stepped back. "What was that?" "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "We don't want to hurt anyone. We're tired. We just want to stay." The older girl woke up next and sat up in panic. "Is it gone? The pod?" Eli nodded. "It blew up an hour ago." She looked at her sister. "They'll come now." "Who?" Eli asked. "Who's coming?" But before they could answer, Eli's scanner beeped again, louder. A red dot appeared on the screen. "Scanner?" The younger girl whispered. "They found us." Eli grabbed his shotgun and looked at the door. "What's out there?" he asked. The older girl's eyes filled with fear. "Hunters." Then, through the falling snow, a red light moved in the sky. Silent, watching. A drone. It scanned the area, then flew away. Eli closed the door slowly and turned to the girls. "If they're coming for you, they'll come for me too." The older girl looked at him with sad eyes. "We'll leave if we have to." Eli paused. He looked at the fire, at the warmth, at their tired faces. Then he spoke. "No, you stay. For now. But if you're telling the truth, we need to be ready." The Girls looked at each other, and for the first time, they smiled, but outside, the snow kept falling. And the whispering wind carried something more than just cold. Something was coming. Asterisk, the storm had passed, but the silence was heavier than before. Inside Eli's cabin, the fire still burned low. The two alien girls sat quietly, wrapped in thick blankets. Their eyes still glowing softly watched the flickering flames, like they were seeing fire for the first time. Eli poured hot tea into 3 cups. He placed 2 in front of them. Careful, it's hot. The younger girl, X01, held the cup close but didn't drink. She simply whispered, "This smells ... warm." The older one, X02, looked up. "What's your name?" "Eli," he said. "Eli Walker. You live here alone?" "Long time now," Eli replied, sitting down. "Ever since the war." There was a long pause. X02 looked at her sister, then back at Eli. "Why did you help us?" Eli looked into the fire. "Because you were freezing to death." "That's enough reason." X01 tilted her head. "On our world, no one helps unless they gain something," Eli sighed. "Then you're not from a good world." She looked down. He picked up his scanner from the table and tapped the screen. "I've seen your energy signals before, not recently, but about 3 weeks ago. Something crashed just south of here. Military didn't report it. They covered it up." X02's face tightened. "That was our first ship. We escaped that night. Barely." Eli leaned forward. "From who?" Silence again. Finally, X01 spoke. "They called themselves the architects. But they didn't build us. They designed us." "Designed?" Eli asked. "We were created in a lab," X02 said. "Grown to be soldiers, smart, fast, obedient. They wanted perfection. But something went wrong?" Eli guessed ... "No," X01 said. "Something went right." Eli looked confused. "We learned to feel," she explained. "To care. We weren't supposed to. That made us ... flawed." "We ran," added X02. "We stole a pod, crashed here." Eli sat back, rubbing his beard. "So you're not weapons. But someone still wants you back." "They'll come," X01 whispered. "They always do." Suddenly, the lights in. The cabin flickered. The scanner buzzed again, but differently this time. Eli picked it up. A low-frequency signal blinked on screen. Not from the air, but from underground. His brows tightened. "That's not a drone. It's something else." He adjusted the scanner's frequency. A voice came through, broken, robotic. ... Asset. Alpha, location confirmed, initiate trace. X02's face went pale. "Turn it off, now." Eli quickly killed the signal. What the hell was that? He SK. X01 stood up. Her hands were shaking. "That voice. It's from the tracking network." "They're already close," X02 said. "They're using Earth's satellites now." Eli stared at the scanner. "Then we move." "To where?" X01 asked. Panicked. Eli pointed out the window. "There are old supply tunnels under the ridge, abandoned years ago. No signals go through the ice that deep. You're helping us again," X02 said softly. Eli shrugged. "Can't stop now." Later that night, ... they moved under moonlight, footprints vanishing in the fresh snow behind them. Eli led, shotgun strapped to his back. The girls walked in silence, heads down. Every sound made them flinch. They reached the tunnel entrance. Old rusted gate, hidden behind a frozen waterfall. Eli kicked it open. Inside was darkness. Cold, silent, dead. They lit a small lantern and made camp in a corner. X01 looked around. "This place feels ... forgotten." "Like us," X02 whispered. Eli unrolled blankets. "You'll be safe here. For now." Then out of nowhere, X01 asked, "Do you believe in dreams?" Eli raised an eyebrow. "Dreams?" "I had one," she said, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Before we crashed, what did you see? I saw Earth. Green and alive, not covered in snow. I saw people smiling, a sun that didn't burn, and a man who didn't run from us. She looked at Eli. You look like him. Eli said nothing. The cold wind outside moaned through the broken pipes. XO2 suddenly stood up. Someone's watching. They all turned. Eli lifted his shotgun. A faint red dot blinked outside the tunnel, then vanished. No sound. No drone, Eli whispered. Just ... a mark. He stepped outside, scanned the area. Nothing, just snow. But when he looked down, he saw it. A symbol drawn in the snow. A circle with 3 lines through it. XO1 gasped. That's the mark of Alpha. Who is Alpha? Eli asked, voice tight. XO2's voice was barely above a whisper. He's not a soldier. Not a hunter. He's what happens when we fail. Eli stared at the mark. Wind howled through the dark again. But this time, it didn't feel empty. It felt like something was listening. Something. Not from here. The ice tunnels were colder now. Even the silence felt sharp, like it was cutting the air. Eli hadn't slept. He sat near the small fire, checking his shotgun, listening. His breath showed in the air like smoke. The scanner was still, no signals. No warnings, but something didn't feel right. The 2 alien girls, XO1 and XO2, were resting nearby, curled in the warmth of blankets. They looked peaceful, almost human. But Eli knew peace never lasted long when someone was being hunted. A sudden crack echoed through the tunnel. Eli stood. Did you hear that? Both girls sat up instantly. XO2 nodded. They found us. But the scanner's silent, Eli said. They don't always use tech, XO1 whispered. Sometimes ... they use him. Eli's eyes narrowed. Alpha? They both nodded. Then the lights on the scanner flickered, not red, not blue-black. The screen went blank. Dead. Eli tapped it. Nothing. The fire dimmed. Then the ice walls breathed. Not air. Not wind. Something ... else. The sound of a presence. Too big to see. Too quiet to hear. XO1 clutched her sister's hand. He's here. Eli raised his gun. Stay behind me. Outside the tunnel, snowflakes fell slow and heavy. A figure moved silently across the white, not walking, gliding. Its face was covered by a black helmet with no eyes. Its body was wrapped in armor that pulsed with dim green lines. No heartbeat, no sound, no warmth. Alpha. He placed one hand on the ground. The snow around him melted into steam. From that steam, tiny insect-like drones crawled out. 6-legged. Clicking, scanning. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. The hunt had begun. Back inside the tunnel. We can't stay here, Eli said. We move. Now. But where? XO2 asked. There's a cliff path above the old hydro station. If we get there, I can block the tunnel behind us. XO1 nodded. Then let's run. They moved quickly, their shadows flickering along the frozen walls. But behind them, in the dark, a soft click-click-click began, the sound of many tiny feet. Eli turned, aimed, fired. Boom. One drone exploded in sparks. But 5 more scuttled from the dark. XO2 raised her hand. The air bent, a wave of force. Shot forward and smashed the tunnel wall, collapsing part of the path. The drones were buried. For now, she said. They ran. Above the ridge, snow blasted into their faces. Wind howled like screaming voices. The old hydro station stood like a broken skeleton in the snow. Rusted, hollow, forgotten. Eli helped the girls inside. We'll hold here. There's metal lining in the walls. Might block his sensors. They sat behind old control panels. XO1 was shaking. I can feel him, she said. He's not like the others. What is he? Eli asked. XO2 looked down. A creation that was never meant to stop. He doesn't think. Doesn't question. Just follows orders, XO1 added. But whose orders? Eli asked. They both looked at each other. Finally, XO2 said, no one knows anymore, maybe not even him. Suddenly, a loud metallic thump echoed through the station, then another, and another. Closer each time. Eli raised his shotgun. XO1 whispered, it's him. The metal door behind them bent inward, like something pressed it with impossible force. Then it exploded inward, a giant hand smashing through like it was paper. Alpha stepped inside, 1 foot at a time, silent as death. Turned his helmet toward them. His hand opened. From his palm, a light beam spread and froze everything. Eli couldn't move. His gun dropped. So did the girls. Their bodies froze mid-step, like glass statues. Alpha walked forward, but just before he reached them, XO1 blinked. She moved. Only her hand shook, but her fingers rose. The beam flickered, then broke. She screamed, a sound of pain and fire, and the entire station shook. Eli fell back, free from the freeze. XO2 pulled her sister close. Don't burn yourself. I can stop him. XO1 shouted. Just go. Eli grabbed her hand. We don't leave anyone behind. He threw an old EMP grenade toward Alpha, a relic from the war. Click, whir, boom, a silent flash. Alpha staggered. His lights dimmed, not defeated, just slowed. They ran again, back into the storm. Hours later, they reached an old cave beneath the ridge. Hidden, safe for now. Eli collapsed, breathing hard. XO1 had passed out, her body weak, drained. XO2 looked at Eli. She's breaking down. Earth air, Earth gravity. It's killing her. Eli stared at her. Then we need to fix that. We'll find a way. She nodded. But then a final message blinked on the broken scanner, now sparking from the EMP. Retrieval failed. Initiate Alpha Prime. Eli read it. He looked up at the stars, hidden behind storm clouds, and whispered, what the hell is Alpha Prime? Asterisk, the wind had calmed, but the fear hadn't. Inside the cave, Eli sat near the opening, his shotgun resting across his knees. He watched the snow fall outside, softer now, almost peaceful, but he didn't trust it. Behind him, the fire cracked quietly. XO1 lay still, wrapped in every warm layer they had. Her skin had gone pale, not the shimmered pale of before, but fading, like light leaving a dying star. XO2 sat beside her, hands pressed to her sister's chest, whispering something in a strange language. Eli turned. Is she breathing? XO2 nodded weakly. For now, her core is slowing. Her what? She looked at him. We don't have hearts like humans. We have energy cores. When they fall below a certain level, we shut down. Eli's jaw tightened. Is there a way to recharge it? Not here. Our bodies were designed to be recharged through our home system's radiation. Earth's sun is different. Eli stood and walked to the far side of the cave where old mining crates were stacked. He kicked one open, found an emergency power cell, weak, barely alive. He held it up. Will this help? XO2 touched it. A little. Maybe enough for one more day. Eli looked at XO1. Her lips moved faintly like she was dreaming. What is she seeing? He asked. She's remembering, XO2 replied softly. They made us forget everything. But she always fought back. Forget what? Our childhood, XO2 said, surprising herself. You had one? She looked at Eli. Just one day. The day before they took us. Flashback through XO2's memory, a garden. 2 small girls running through green fields under a purple sky, laughter, real, free, then sirens, black suits. A hand pulling her away from her sister. Cold light, darkness. She never stopped searching for that moment, XO2 whispered. The sound of grass, the smell of air, that one memory. Ailey didn't speak. Sometimes silence says more than questions. Then he looked up. You said Alpha Prime is coming. What is he? XO2 hesitated. Then she stood, walked to the mouth of the cave and pointed to the sky. There are levels to hunters, she said. Alpha was the first, purely physical. But Alpha Prime, he doesn't chase with weapons. Then how? He hunts the mind. Ailey stared, meaning? He gets inside your thoughts, shows you lies, breaks you from the inside. Alila's hand clenched on the shotgun. XO2 turned to him. You should leave, go somewhere far. We brought this on you. I had my chance to walk away, Ailey said. I didn't. That was my choice. She smiled for the first time. It didn't last. Suddenly, the cave lights flickered. The power cell and XO1's blankets sparked. Then went dark. She stopped breathing. No, X2 ran to her. Not yet. Ailey rushed to the crate, grabbed the last battery pack, old, unstable, and tossed it over. XO2 wired it to her sister's body with trembling hands. Come on, she whispered. Come back, but nothing happened. Then, a single pulse. XO1 gasped, breath returning, but her eyes were different. They were glowing brighter and full of fear. He's in, she whispered. XO2 leaned in. Who, Alpha Prime? XO1 nodded slowly. He showed me something. He showed me. You dead. Ailey froze. Then XO1 looked at him, tears filling her glowing eyes. He gave me a choice. What kind of choice? Ailey asked slowly. XO1's voice broke. If I go back willingly, he'll let you both live. Silence, even the fire seemed to pause. Ailey shook his head. No, that's not how we survive. We don't bargain with monsters. But he showed me things, she said, voice cracking. You, cold in the snow, my sister burning. Those aren't visions, Ailey said. They're weapons. He doesn't need to kill us with blades. He wants us to choose our own end. XO2 stood, eyes filled with tears. We leave at sunrise. We find another way. But Ailey noticed something in XO1's hands. She had already taken the power core out of the pack. Wait-don't single quotes T-. Too late, she pressed it to her chest, a direct energy surge. It lit her body with sparks then. Her voice rang out louder than before, like a siren in the storm. Hear me, Alpha Prime. If you want me, come yourself. The cave shook out far, far above them, in the night sky. A dark shape began to descend through the clouds. It wasn't a drone, it wasn't a ship, it was something alive. Huge, silent, a falling shadow, and far away. A voice, not of sound but of thought, echoed through the Earth's atmosphere. You have chosen defiance. You will witness consequence. The storm had stopped. No wind, no snow, not even the sound of the earth breathing beneath the ice. It was as if the entire world was holding its breath. Ailey stood outside the cave entrance, eyes fixed on the sky. The clouds above had formed into a perfect circle, unnatural and still, like something had bitten a hole into the sky itself. Beside him, XO2 tightened her coat. Her skin glowed faintly blue now, unstable. She had barely slept. Her sister, XO1, hadn't woken up since. The energy surge, she's slipping again, XO2 whispered. She burned too much of herself calling him, Ailey nodded. And he heard. A low hum began to rise, not sound, not air, but pressure. It pushed down on Ailey's chest like invisible weight. Then they saw it. Not a ship. Not a drone. Not a man. Just darkness, descending like a living shadow. No wings. No engines. No light. It moved across the sky slowly, like it had all the time in the universe, yet every second it grew heavier in their minds. Ailey felt it first, a sharp memory, uninvited, his last mission during the war, his squad dying one by one. The moment he left the battlefield and never returned. The memory was perfect, too perfect. He blinked it away. He's inside our heads. XO2 gripped her temple. He's showing me the labs, the pain, the cage. I can smell it again. Don't trust it, Eli growled. Don't look back. Stay here, I'll stall him. You won't survive. She said. Eli turned to her. I don't need to. Just need to slow him down. Across the frozen cliffs, a patch of snow turned black. Then cracked open. A shape rose from it. Tall, smooth, featureless, as if sculpted from glass and shadow. No face, no eyes, no mouth, and yet it spoke, not with sound, but with thought. Eli Walker, soldier, abandoner, liar. Eli gritted his teeth. You do your homework. You still carry guilt, I can taste it. Eli raised his shotgun. You would shoot a memory? Alpha Prime took a step forward, but the snow beneath his feet didn't move. Eli fired. The shot hit, but it passed through like mist. Alpha Prime's form blurred, then reformed. Your tools are dust. Your mind is mine, inside the cave. XO2 knelt beside her sister, pressing her hand to XO1's fading core. She's barely here. She whispered. Suddenly, XO1's eyes flickered open. He's here, she breathed. I know, her sister said. Don't speak. Save your strength. But XO1 reached out and grabbed her hand. No more running. Back outside. Eli dropped to one knee. His hands were shaking. He wasn't cold. He was remembering things that never happened. A woman he never married. A child he never lost. A house that never burned. Also real. Also painful. Alpha Prime stepped closer. You can have it all. Just hand them over. Eli looked up. They're not yours to take. Everything is mine. Then, from behind a wave of light burst from the cave. It wasn't heat. It wasn't fire. It was truth. Alpha Prime recoiled. His form flickered, showing for a split second something horrible beneath the shadow. A machine of bone and mind, pulsing with stolen memory. XO1 floated forward, her body glowing like a dying star. No more tricks, she said. Alpha Prime spoke to her directly now. XO1, subject first, failed prototype, she smiled. I wasn't your failure, I was your mistake. Your power is fading, so is your grip. She raised both hands. A storm of memory exploded from her, not just hers, but stolen ones she had collected over time. Childhood songs, laughs, trees, wind, color. Alpha Prime screamed, not aloud, but in every brain at once. He wasn't built to feel. And now she was feeding him emotion like a poison. Eli covered his ears. Even though there was no sound, XO2 stood beside her sister, lending her strength. Together they glowed twin lights in a world of shadow. But then, Alpha Prime changed. He didn't fall. He absorbed the pain. And grew. His body widened, stretched, and a single crack split down his face, revealing a pulsing core of red inside. You wish to teach me feeling? Then feel this. He raised a hand. The sky above them split. A massive tear, like a wound, opened in the clouds. Something else was coming. Something bigger. XO1 collapsed. XO2 caught her. Panicking. She's fading again. Her core's unstable. Eli ran. To them. We get to the fallback shelter, now. But where? XO2 cried. Eli looked to the east. There's one place left. Old ground base. Buried under Sector 9 ice fields. Nuclear powered. Sealed from the inside. It might not work, XO2 said. It's all we have. He lifted XO1 in his arms. She was weightless now, like carrying a dying light. Behind them, Alpha Prime rose into the sky, becoming a shadow against the stars. And in every mind on Earth, one message echoed at once. There is no sanctuary. Only surrender. Asterisk, the sky no longer looked like the sky. It was torn out above the northern horizon. A deep scar glowed in the clouds. a red-black wound pulsing like a heartbeat. From it, tendrils of dark energy reached down toward Earth like fingers searching for something or someone. Eli drove the snowbike across the frozen wasteland, ice flying up behind him. In the sled trailer, XO1 lay unconscious, wrapped in thermal blankets. Her body glowed dim now, flickering like a light bulb in its final. Hours. Beside him sat XO2, eyes locked on the horizon, jaw clenched. How much farther? She asked. Not far, Eli shouted over the wind. Sector 9, 10 miles max, buried base. Nuclear core still running. If we get there, maybe we can trap him inside. Maybe? She repeated. I've been betting on maybes my whole life. XO2 didn't smile, inside the tear in the sky. Alpha Prime hovered in stillness, not flapping wings or firing engines, just floating with total control. He had grown. His body now towered like a living monument, made of shadow and steel. His thoughts stretched across miles, infecting weather patterns, hijacking memories, crawling into human minds like a virus. He didn't chase anymore. He simply pulled. And from miles away, XO1 stirred in her sleep, whispering one word again and again. Don't single quotes forget who. We are Sector 9. Buried base entrance. Sealy smashed through the last gate, rusted metal giving way to ice and desperation. The lights inside the abandoned facility flickered to life as they entered. Cold, blue, artificial. He laid XO1 on the metal floor, next to an old reactor core still pulsing faintly. This place has shielding, he said. Even Alpha can't get through while the core's active. XO2 checked her sister's vitals. Her core is less than 3%. Eli looked at the blinking monitors. This place still has radiation converters. We might be able to feed it to her, but it could kill her, XO2 finished. Too unstable, Eli nodded. Or it wakes her up with more power than she's ever had. Silence. XO2 looked down at her sister's peaceful face. She's always protected me, every time. Maybe it's your turn now. Outside, the air trembled. Not thunder. Not footsteps. Just presence. Alpha Prime was here. His thoughts entered the base like poison smoke. One last stand. How human. Eli stood, shotgun in hand. This isn't your world. You don't belong here. I belong where weakness gathers, where fear breeds. X2 gritted her teeth and turned to the reactor panel. I'm doing it, she said, starting the charge. But she deserves the choice. The reactor glowed brighter. XO1's body arched, caught between pain and awakening. Alarms blared. The base shook. Alpha Prime's full form appeared outside. The glass shield, massive, faceless, godlike. His shadow poured across the snow like ink. Then, a spark. XO1's eyes opened. But they were different. Not glowing. Burning. Inside her mind she saw everything. Earth's trees, the laughter of human children, the garden from her memory, the moment she first touched fire. She also saw Alpha Prime's beginning. A hollow moon, orbiting a dying star. A lab built to create order from emotion. A mind born without heart, trained to hunt love. Built to destroy it. And in that moment, she whispered inside herself, You are the weapon. I am the choice. In reality, she stood. Her body hummed. With energy. XO2 ran to her. You're back. XO1 looked at Eli. Get behind the reactor wall, both of you. What are you going to do? He asked. She looked out at Alpha Prime. I'm going to finish what they started, and rewrite what I am. XO2 hesitated, but Eli pulled her to cover. Then, slowly, XO1 walked out through the metal doors into the snow, facing the God Machine. Alpha Prime stared down at her. Your power is borrowed, your body. Dying, she smiled gently, and yet I'm the one standing. Then, silence. And then an explosion. But not of fire, of light. Every memory, every emotion, every human feeling. ever buried in her code ignited at once. She wasn't attacking Alpha Prime with force. She was attacking him with everything he was, designed to reject. Joy, pain, hope, love, and Alpha Prime screamed. His body split open, not from outside, but from inside. His code unraveled, his thoughts stuttered, and then he collapsed. Not into dust, but into silence. Later, the snow began to fall again, gently, softly, like before. Eli and XO2 stood beside XO1's body. It didn't glow anymore. It didn't move. She used everything, XO2 said, even the part meant for herself. Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. She didn't die a weapon. No, XO2 whispered. She died a person. Back at the cave days later, XO2 sat near the fire Eli had rebuilt. Her hands rested over a small data crystal, all that was left of her sister's core. She looked up at Eli. What now? Eli looked to the stars. We give her what she asked for. He smiled. We let her stay. The snow had changed. It no longer felt like a warning. It felt like a blanket falling gently across the earth, as if the world itself had finally exhaled. Eli stood alone in the clearing near the base of the ridge, surrounded by soft white hills and broken sky. In his hands, he held a small glowing crystal, no bigger than his palm. Inside it shimmered quiet pulses of gold and violet light. Not a weapon, not a machine, not anymore. Just what was left of a soul, XO1. And for the first time since the day he found her in the snow, she was completely still. Behind him, the cave had been rebuilt into something new, not quite a home, not quite a shelter, a place between both. A beginning. O2 stepped forward slowly, the wind tugging at her coat. She used her core to rewrite the virus, she said softly. She burned it out from the inside. Alpha Prime wasn't destroyed. He was made human for 1 second, and that's all it took. Eli nodded. Just 1 second of feeling. They stood in silence for a while, watching snow land gently on the glowing crystal. XO2 held out her hand. Eli placed it in her palm. I used to think we were born in a lab, she said. Built to serve, built to fight. She looked at the crystal, but she proved we were born the moment we made a choice. Later. They buried the crystal at the edge of the forest, where the ice was thin and the soil still remembered warmth. Eli carved no name, no number, just a smooth stone, and on it he scratched a sentence. She chose not to be a weapon. Above them, the sky began to clear, not all at once, just in pieces, like a dream trying to wake up. Weeks passed. Eli fixed up the base, cleared the wreckage. He taught XO2 how to build things with her hands instead of her powers. They grew food in heated soil. She learned how to laugh without being afraid of it. He didn't ask questions about the past anymore. She didn't offer answers either. They simply lived. And one morning, when the sun touched the snow just right, she came to him and said, I want a name. Eli looked up from his tools. You do? She nodded. Something ... small. Something that fits here. He thought for a while, then said, how about Nova? She repeated it, slowly. Nova, I read once, Eli said, that a nova is when a star explodes and becomes brighter just before it disappears. Nova looked to the forest where her sister rested. She was brighter than both of us, she whispered. Eli said nothing. He just stood beside her. Sometimes silence is the only true way to say goodbye. A few nights later, Nova stood outside the cabin, looking at the stars. One of them moved slowly across the sky. Not a threat, just a distant satellite. Or maybe a passing ship that didn't stop. She didn't care. She whispered into the night, to whatever listened. We don't want war. We don't want revenge. We just want to stay. And for the first time, the stars didn't blink back in warning. They just listened. Final Sinilai placed a worn notebook on the table. Inside it, he began to write everything. The night he found them. The pot in the snow. The whisper, "We're not weapons." The hunter. The fight. The light. The loss. The new life. He closed the book and wrote the title across the top. She fell from the sky and asked to stay. Then he set it down. Nova came in, carrying a bowl of warm broth, and smiled. And together, in a world once cold and broken, they ate in peace. No alarms, no scanners, no shadows in the sky, just the sound of fire, and the quiet beating of two hearts that had finally stopped running.